What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 30 of Park to Prem, here with Towlaw Town. Today, it is the Season 4 kind of summary episode, it feels like now, as we get promoted to the Vanarama National Leagues, in terms of the Vanarama National North and South. They were kind of hitting a significant landmark of sorts in the series, and that is the fact that we are now entering the regular playable leagues in Football Manager. And so, to mark that, and having gone forward 4 years, it feels like a good chance, I guess, just to look in England at what different teams have been going up and down, who's been winning leagues, that kind of stuff. I have only got England loaded, so there's not a ton of leagues to look through. And additionally, going into this next year, I am going to unload the bottom two divisions. You can see here, just looking at the estimated game speed, they add a crazy amount of time to the game. And just removing a couple of leagues will hopefully, give us a little bit more speed when it comes to getting through seasons, because I'll be honest with you, the game is starting to run pretty slowly because there's just so many leagues to get through. But anyway, to start today, I do want to just have a look back at the season just gone. Of course, last episode, if you missed it, it was the end of the season. Do go check it out. And we're going to start by looking through some awards. We'll have a look at the team. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go forward to mid-June. We'll have a look at how things are looking before the seasonal reset. And we can see what jobs are maybe available, what teams have moved up and down. Of course, here at Towlaw, it's only the start of April now, so most of the other leagues in and around us are still very much in progress. You can see here the playoffs are still going on for some of the teams trailing behind us. But anyway, let's have a look at end of season awards. And first and foremost, Fans Player of the Year, Kumwenda. 47%. This man just turned it on this year. I have also updated the attribute thresholds. I've done a few little things since the end of the last episode. The first one I've done is, if we just have a look here at preferences, and then skin colours. I've changed it now, so excellent is 14, good is 10, and average is 6. Of course, you can change those as you go up through the leagues, but having kept them the same for a while, I felt like it was time for an upgrade. And well, you can see here, Kumwenda, terrific player of the year for us. 103 appearances, 79 league goals. I imagine he has more than that in all competitions. Had a tremendous year like this year just gone. Wasn't quite the same level as previous years, but let's be honest. When we signed him 3 and a bit years ago, we couldn't have really dreamed for a better contribution from a player. You can see he has averaged a crazy number of goals every season. He's averaged, how many is it actually? Goal contributions. He's got 103 goal contributions in 103 matches. That is a pretty good statistic. And I'm hoping he can do it next year. I feel like when we look for our team, defensively, statistically, we've been great, but if you were to look at our team on paper, I do think it's one of the areas of improvement where we can seek to, I guess, step things up. Other players who got good votes, Malcolm Boxall, who was voted our signing of the year as well, joined us, of course, on a free at the end of last year, technically from Liverpool, but this was his first chance to make a real meaningful impact, and make a meaningful impact he certainly did. Was absolutely top draw for us this year. And behind him, Akeem Rose. A little bit of a late bloomer, this guy. Kind of came into the foray late on, started nailing down a right winger position for us. And in that position, he had some of his best performances. In fact, both on the left and right-hand side. We're training him to play as an inverted winger on the left. I feel like he's just a terrific player for at this level. And I think he can do it again next year, to be honest. He's, if we just look at our club profile, he's listed as our key player. I do feel like that's not correct. I don't think he is our best player in terms of actual ability. Maybe in terms of what he's contributed this year, he's up there. But just to, I guess, put it a little bit into comparison, if we just compare him to, let's go with Leighton Stewart. When you compare them kind of directly head-to-head, I mean, maybe there's not a massive difference between them. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can let me know what you think. Am I underselling Rose? Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but I don't feel like he's an incredible player. I wouldn't say he's our best player. I guess that's what I would say, but the game disagrees. So who am I to argue? You can see here, goal of the season to Jermaine Anderson, who, well, we released him, didn't we, last episode? So this is all a little bit awkward. I don't think this is going to be as good as Rodri's goal that he scored for us. But we'll hope the goal's going to load. Game? Hello. It's loading something, although I have now just clicked close. So it's probably going to load and then just close. Yeah, we'll try again. Take number 2. What was this goal by Jermaine Anderson? I imagine it was one of his crazy long shots that he just loves to do. Let's take a look. But yeah, on the whole, this year's been a good year. You know, it was a tricky year, a bit of a transitional one. Of course, our first year where we've been able to offer players currently, you know, kind of contracts that are going to last us an extended period of time. And we've been able to sell players on, obviously. We've done that with Wellens. I'm looking still to renew a lot of players' contracts who are currently at the club. When I look at the team, I guess the main area of concern for me is the wing-back position. I feel like that's an area where we lack a little bit of quality. Harker in goal's been good for us this year, but if a suitable upgrade came along, I probably wouldn't turn it down. On the goal-scoring front, by the way, that's an incredible goal. Worth the wait, I feel, to load for. But on the goal-scoring front, obviously, we've got Kumwenda, we've got Akeem Rose who can play there, Leighton Stewart. I'd maybe bring in a striker, but I don't see it unless we start struggling. Anyway, Kumwenda, Young Player of the Year as well. And the Team of the Year, Akeem Rose, Kumwenda, Harrison, Wellens. And interesting to see Harrison and Wellens there. Anderson and Boxall in the midfield. I'm not sure about this best 11. Let's have a look at the overall best 11. Who's up here? So Harker in goal, Robson at right back. Where are you, Robson? You are playing currently for AFC Mansfield, a titan of non-league football. Donnelly Blackburn, still in our under-23s, Mr. International, due to be released by Salford, having had a damaged knee cartilage injury for a long, long time. Alex Evans in at centre-back as well. I love that. I didn't realise he had amassed as many as 49 appearances for us as our centre-back. As we look higher up the pitch, a few players who have played significantly more games. Interestingly enough, Kumwenda, the schoolboy, has surpassed Sonny Best for total appearances at the club, 130 to his name. In the midfield, we've got Chanka Zimba, who is still at the club but hasn't played this year. He's just not that great, everyone. He was good the last few years. I might feel a little unfortunate not to get given more chances, but just can't find a spot for him. And it's a similar story with Romario Vieira. I like to have these two around for moral support alongside Ryan Ferguson and Sonny Best, but they're not good enough to play for us, is kind of the sad reality. Kit Elliott, by the way, has played for Basford this year. He's played 33 games in the National League North, which is where we're going next year. He's got 2 goals in that time, so I don't feel like we missed out a great deal by releasing him. On the bench, you've got Big Mike, Sam Greenwood, Malcolm Boxall, Josh Harrison, Leighton Stewart, Midgley and Akeem Rose. And if we just hit the where are they now and have a look here, you can see a lot of these players are still at the club. Mr. International has left, Kit Elliott's left and Robson's left. But for the most part, it's players in our kind of squad, or at least in our kind of club as a whole, although many are in the under-23s. Anyway, season review, you can see here we were expected to make much of the league, and well, we did just that. Even if we did bottle every blooming cup competition, I'm still a little bit annoyed about that. An average attendance of 134, that is a little bit of a cause for concern. Our average attendances really haven't climbed up since we've been here. That might be a big brick wall that we run into. Although I'm hoping that playing in higher profile competitions might help with that somewhat. Anyway, we can have a look at club vision. So next year, attacking football, possession football, entertaining football, high tempo pressing football. They have a minimum expectation of reaching the playoffs. That feels lofty, although actually, I've just remembered, they've redone how the playoffs work here in the National Leagues recently. So the top 7 teams have a chance at promotion. The top team go up automatically. And then the 6 teams in behind get a playoff spot, which is quite unique for in England. I think the National League does something similar. So really, we're looking at a top 7 finish in a league of 22 teams. That feels okay. I'm going to accept that. Squad dynamics, Sonny Best, Kumwenda and Harker considered the highly influential and, well, team leaders, which is nice. Injury report, you can see here the players who missed the most amount of football. It was Alex Bradley, the Finnish centre mid, a player who I feel a bit bad for all the injuries he's had. He's a very, very good player. Definitely a player who I think will be a useful squad player for at least the next couple of tiers. Would love to keep him on the Finnish international. Meanwhile, Sonny Best out for 4 months. His contract expires at the end of the year. Can we offer him a new deal? My client is incredibly interested, but does not want to consider the renewal of terms. This is because any contract would be inferior to his current deal. Wait, can I not offer full-time deals anymore? That's going to be a problem. Can I not? If I go to Younger and offer contract? Okay, that's a different message. Can I just find any old random player? I just need a player. Let's look at Zach Gannon. He was a player we were looking to sign before. He's interested in joining. It's really any player who I want to sign on permanently. Oh, mind you, I guess we could just offer a contract and then see. So starting player, yes. Finalise, negotiate. I can't offer players part-time contracts at the moment. I can only offer them the non-contracts that we had before this year. I have to hope that changes. That could be a big, big problem. That's not good. Okay, well, if you know anything about this, please let me know. I'm hoping that that's just going to change at some point, because when you look at our kind of current starting 11, there's a lot of players on these NA contracts who I would like to get on permanent deals. I'm looking at Leighton Stewart, Kumwenda, Akeem Rose, Boxall. That could be a big problem. I'm now a little bit scared, not going to lie. Anyway, we can tell players to go on a rest. We don't get a choice of when they come back, so we'll just accept that. That's an analysis of the game that we just played. We won and we got promotion. Let's just revel in that for a moment, shall we? So, yeah, 5 points ahead of Gateshead. Things going very, very well. Obviously, an automatic promotion was amazing. If we just have a look at the club overview. Predicted to finish second, according to the media. Club value currently sits at £160,000. Just looking at the finances, we've got £200,000 in the bank. At the start of this year, or this time last year, we had £258,000 in the bank. So not a massive loss, all things considering. There's been a little bit of kind of movement in there. I think we took on a loan at some point. Maybe I'm making it up. I feel like we took out a loan at some point, but maybe I'm hallucinating. Overall loss this year, £124,000. That's not too bad. That's quite manageable. Obviously, when you consider that we sold Charlie Wellens for £100,000, that has offset massively the money that we lost this year, just making a single sale like that. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to offer players longer-term contracts. Otherwise, there's a few players here that we probably have to look to sell on whilst we can. I mean, who has contracts expiring next year? Everyone from Harker upwards. Does anyone have any significant value? Bradley does. Younger does. Rodri does. It's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to start offering proper contracts again at some point. But if not, given the fact these players' contracts expire at the end of next year, it's probably in my interest to make a sale or two. I'm trying to think of who I would actually sell here. Warrington's really disappointed this year, so maybe he'd be an option. Rodri's wanted by a few teams. Exeter, Leyton Orient, Mansfield. Is anyone else wanted by anyone? Doesn't look like it right now. So maybe Rodri's the player who has to go, although I think it would take a pretty good offer for me to consider letting him go. His value isn't that high. Obviously, the players that we approached to sign last episode still on their way in. We will continue to look at adding players to the team. Our available wage budget right now is £5,000 a week. That's pretty significant. If you were wondering, our current kind of hot prospect is Julian Clarence. I really, really like this guy. He can play out on the left or the right. Joined us this year from Everton. Did play 10 games. Really didn't put in a great performance, but as a squad depth player in the wide area, he's in the first team. Hasn't played yet. May never play. Hopefully he can develop into something. He's the kind of player who, I don't know, I feel like a bigger team's probably going to poach at some point and we're going to have to cry about it, especially if I can't offer him a full-time contract. We've actually got a contract that's due to go active actually today, apparently. I guess that's the case with a few of our players. If we continue once more, all those players who we agreed pre-contracts with, I imagine are all going to just start signing them, I hope. And then I need to start really trying to get them on permanent deals, which we might, well, we will. There's no doubt in my mind, because all these players are going to be just signing contracts now. They are not going to want to sign new contracts again right away. So that's something to deal with this summer. So I do want to go for it. Oh gosh, stadium capacity. We're increasing the stadium capacity by 600 seats. Do we need that? 75,000. I don't think we need a bigger stadium. Sandra. Our average attendance was 100. I mean, I can't really complain. There's nothing I can do to stop it. It's happening, everyone. So, yes, I do want to quickly look at our overall team stats here. But obviously, this is a bit of a different episode with it being the end of Season 1. So what I'd quite like to do is go forward to the end of June, and we'll have a look at England as a whole. I probably need your help spotting teams that have gone up and down in the leagues. We'll have a look at who won the Premier League, that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's have a quick look at our first team. So in terms of player with the most appearances this year, Nathan Harker, 54 appearances in goal. A very solid goalkeeper. His current ability, you can see here, is a good player for Betfit to Northern Division Premier sides. That's our current division. Maybe if there was an upgrade opportunity, we would take it at 24, whilst he has got some potential. I don't necessarily expect him to reach it. Malcolm Boxall, Young Player of the Year, or not Young Player of the Year, Signing of the Year, I should say. Quickly becoming a fan favourite as well. Not the most consistent performance, but in terms of average rating, he and Kumwenda, you can see here, some of the best performances in the league, and 12 assists to his name as well is absolutely nothing to be scoffed at. Then Midgley at left back, which is a bit of an interesting one. He kind of nailed down the left back position because I couldn't find a good left back at the start of the year. Obviously we lost a few defenders. It was a bit of a weird situation this year defensively. Well, you might remember we lost McLaughlin, we lost Mr. International. Our defence just got pulled apart. Even in goal, it got pulled apart as well. But we rebuilt well, and Midgley was a bit of a surprise package. His ratings weren't the craziest on kind of the scale of things. Maybe if a good opportunity for a player came in, I might well take it. We'll have to see. Leighton Stewart then played 45 games. Only 19 goals feels like a kind of harsh assessment, but he had a very good start to the year, and then the second half of the season, he really did start to cool down. Obviously, we were saved by the fact that Kumwenda stepped things up. Warrington, another player who, I don't know how to feel about this guy. You'll notice I've installed a face pack for him. I went and found his face on the Everton website and chucked it in my game. He's a good little playmaker, at least when you look at him like this, but he didn't really show us that this year. Maybe next year will be his opportunity. He's only 20, he's got a little bit of potential, but obviously it is somewhat of a cause for concern. He's on £400 a week, which makes him one of the biggest earners at the club, and at the time of signing him, I really thought him and Wellens were going to galvanise the midfield and revolutionise things for us. It didn't really happen, unfortunately, and despite playing a huge number of games, just never really contributed all that much. Rodri, good centre-back, as I mentioned. I just like this guy a lot. I mean, you look at him, loads of 13s in the physicals. His physicals are crazy for this level. Left-footed as well, which is nice as a left centre-back. Currently valued at £28,000. You can see here Exeter, Leyton Orient and Mansfield all are interested in him. Not sure how much we could get from him if we tried to sell him. It feels like in April it's probably not the best idea. Then you got Kumwenda. Josh Harrison played a number of games as a wide midfielder. Did get a semi-long-term injury. Of course, we've now made the new addition of Lindsay. From everything we've seen from Lindsay so far, this is the man who will be our left winger next year. Really, really like this guy a lot. Signed from Scarborough. Played 88 games for them, so he had played a hell of a lot of first-team football over a number of years for them. And he was putting in some good performances. He's come here and he stepped it up that little bit more. So, yeah, I have high hopes for Lindsay going into next year that he's really going to be able to contribute a lot. If we just look at highest average ratings, Kumwenda leading the way, Boxall, then Akeem Rose. Alex Evans definitely deserves a little mention. 17 appearances for the 30-year-old in all competitions this year. Was a really reliable kind of third-choice centre-back. When Rodri wasn't performing, we chucked him in. And you can see, for a player who we signed on a free transfer 3 years ago, considering his age, considering his squad status, he's consistently put in some rather good performances for your third-choice centre-back. So that's good to see. David Connolly at right back also looks very good. Obviously, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. He's a very good player defensively. He's not crazy going forward, and for a lot of this year, we have relied on him at right back. As I said, I feel like him and Midgley, if you were going to, say what two positions would you immediately like to maybe upgrade, I think the full-back position would be it. They're two good players, but I think they'd be better suited to being kind of backup options. Younger Rodri, I'm very, very happy with as our centre-back duo. And obviously, defensively this year, we have been top draw. If we just look at team detailed stats, you can see here, in terms of goals scored, we are second on 79, one behind Gateshead in the end. And then in terms of defending, 36 goals conceded in all competitions. We kept a lot of clean sheets over the course of the year. A few teams did catch us up towards the end, but nevertheless, very, very impressive stuff. You can see here, if we just look at player overview, Harker, I hope, is going to be leading the way when it comes to clean sheets. Yes, 20 to his name. So at the back, we were very good. There's no denying that. We were very, very good at the back. And overall, I'm feeling good. I feel like next year, I really want to stick with this same system, this 4-4-2. It's worked well for us. As I said, the full-back areas I'd like to improve. Warrington has underwhelmed me. Maybe a new centre mid to play alongside Boxall would be good. Obviously, Lindsay is left-footed and can only play on the left. Akeem Rose can play on the left and the right. I am training Lindsay to play out on the right. That would make a lot more sense for him as an inside forward to be cutting in on his left foot. And similar situation for Akeem Rose. But, he can play either side. But in terms of the general shape of the team, I don't plan on changing things too drastically. I feel like we only need a few real quality players just to continue to, elevate our level, and we should be doing well next year. And I feel like how good our first team is quite kind of indicated by the fact that the board expect us to reach the playoffs. Clearly we do have some quality about us here at Towlaw. But anyway, guys, I'm now going to go forward to mid-June, I guess, just before the season's reset in Football Manager. We'll have a look at all the leagues through England, or at least the big ones. You can spot anything that you see that's interesting that you observe, teams that get promoted, teams that have been relegated. Obviously, we've been here 4 years now, so things have changed quite a great deal. And, let's go and have a look at the overall landscape of England, shall we? Okay, guys, so it is the 23rd of June. It's been 2.5 months. We've been pretty busy in the transfer window. That's to come tomorrow, though. We're going to just take a look at how football leagues are looking across England, because things have happened, obviously, in the last 4 years, and I feel like it's worth just having a look at what's been going on. First and foremost, Gateshead have been promoted with us. Yes, they marched through the playoffs of the regional leagues, and they beat Gainsborough Trinity 3-0 in the final. Slough, the other team, making it through, another 3-0 win there against Enfield. So yes, the rivalry against Gateshead is going to continue for at least another year. Meanwhile, if we just go to the regional divisions, and I'm hoping this is going to all load correctly. Please load for me. I'll search Vanarama. Why not? We'll do it live. But yes, if we look at the Vanarama leagues and the National League North and South, just have a quick peek at how things are looking. All the playoffs are showing. It's excellent. You can see Maidstone United and Dagenham have been promoted from the Vanarama National League South. Yeovil down here is a little bit of a surprise. Obviously, if you spot any other teams that I don't see, please do point them out to me. Meanwhile, in the National League North, Kettering and Boston United, my hometown, going up, which is nice to see. I'm trying to spot if there's any particularly unusual teams here. Of course, this is the division that we're going to be playing in next year, so I guess soak in these names, become familiar with them. We're going to be seeing more of them. When we go to the National League, going up, we have Wrexham and Fylde. And, on the other side of things, Bolton Wanderers, 20 points they finished on. If you were wondering what's happening with them, Jack, they're in debt. I think they might go into administration, which would mean they lose points. I believe in debt in Football Manager means you have more debt than your club's actual value is worth. They've still not sacked their manager. Again, I think that's because they can't afford to get rid of him. They've been relegated. There's not been any chance of a takeover happening yet. I'm a little bit concerned for them. They've not sacked their manager, and it's June. He's got a year left on his contract. I don't know if we're going to be getting the Bolton job, everyone, which I know some people will be happy about and some people will be sad about, but that is the latest there. Moving up into League 2. Any unusual teams here? Crawley, Northampton and Peterborough, teams who have, not in the not-so-distant past, been in League 1, all being promoted. Chesterfield and Chorley going down, so I'm sure there's going to be a few Chorley fans disappointed to see them make it to the promised land of the Football League and then go crashing back down. AFC Wimbledon down in 14th as well there. In League 1, Pompey promoted alongside Luton and Brentford. Scunthorpe, Mansfield, Newport and Tranmere, the teams going down in the league. Ipswich in 19th, Middlesbrough in 11th. That doesn't look pretty, does it? Wow, what has happened to them? Let's move into the Championship, shall we? And Fulham, Brighton, Blackburn going up. Leeds United still in the Championship, if you were wondering. Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday and Walsall also going down. Not noticing any particularly unusual teams here. Again, I might be missing something, so if you see something, see it, say it, sort it. You can see going down from the Premier League, West Ham, Southampton and Stoke. Norwich getting European football. I mean, fair play to them. You can see Manchester City winning the league. If we just look at the profile for the Premier League, Liverpool won it year 1, and then for the last 3 seasons, Manchester City have been dominant. Juan Hernandez even has been the top goal scorer for Watford. Sadio Mane with the highest average rating. Fabio Silva with the second highest. Phil Foden, 12 assists to his name. And Havertz up there as well. Hopefully we will get to the Premier League, be it with Towlaw or another team. before all the real players have retired. I kind of enjoy it when you end up coming up against a 35-year-old Mason Greenwood. It's just a weird thing that happens in Football Manager. If you were just wondering about past winners of the Championship as well, you can see here, Fulham, they've been a bit of a yo-yo team, it would be fair to say, in recent years. Interesting to see that Southampton and Newcastle have been relegated and have bounced back. So, I mean, fair play to them there. If we just look at the Champions League, because I know someone's going to ask about this. Champions League, who's been winning it, who's not been winning it? Liverpool win it, then PSG win it, then Liverpool, and then recently Chelsea, after extra time, against Juventus. I mean, that's an unlikely final, but fair enough, Chelsea. That's I want to say that's a shock win. Where have they finished the last few years? Frank Lampard is still their manager. They finished second last year, and they're second in the league at the moment. I take it all back. They're the best team in the world, basically. It doesn't feel like there's been a great deal of change in the status quo of things. I think genuinely Bolton, who have been relegated so much recently, are the only team who have drastically moved up and down through the leagues. Of course, as I mentioned, I am going to be removing a few leagues coming this year. In fact, well, how many leagues do I want to remove? I think we'll remove the bottom three and kind of go from there. To me, I just feel like I don't want to have too many leagues loaded. I think it would make sense to deload some. That does mean that Brandon, who I know are dear to everyone's heart, we're not going to be able to see where they finish every year. But for the benefit of the game actually running smoothly for me, it does feel somewhat like a small price to pay. But anyway, should I give you a sneak peek on what we've been doing? There's players being poached left, right and centre. I'll tell you what, a little sneak peek at a player we're looking to bring in. Steve Chapman. I'm still keen on him. I think we looked at him last episode from Manchester City. 18 years old. Could be an incredible left-back. Will we sign him? I have no idea. You'll have to tune in tomorrow and find out. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. I would like to do these kind of end-of-season live comms with lots of detail, I feel like, at the end of every year as a bit of a catch-up. Don't know if I necessarily achieved that today, but if there's anything that I've not covered, maybe you're someone who's been watching intermittently through this season, or maybe, you know, you get to an end of the season, you want a little bit of a recap. What specific stuff would you like me to cover in these videos? If you've made it to the end of this video, your opinion is very important to me because you're the kind of person who's going to watch everything I say in this kind of video, and I want to say everything that you want to hear. So if there is anything, please do let me know. And yeah, that is going to be all from me today. Thank you so much for watching as always. I'll catch you next time for season number 5, Vanarama National League. Here we come.